All right, so today we're going to talk about polynomials. Polynomials have a whole bunch of different rules. We have the degree and we have the terms in order to classify polynomials. We also need to talk about standard form, which goes from the highest degree to the lowest. And the leading coefficient is the first coefficient when you have the terms all put into standard form. So when I have the degrees of different polynomials, I am going to classify the polynomials based on the number of degrees. So for example, something that has a degree of 0 is a constant. So that's just like a number by itself. So for example, 4. If I have linear, that means that I'm going to have a variable that has a degree to the first power. So 4x we know is the same thing as 4x to the first. So because the degree is to the first power, it is linear. Quadratic is going to have 4x to the second power. And it doesn't have to have this 4. It could just be x to the second power. But it's going to have some variable and to the second power. And if you think about that, here's your square. I'm going to get x squared when I have x times x. So here's my quadrilateral. The area is x squared. Cubic is going to look something like this, 4x to the third power. Quartic is going to have 4x to the fourth power, and quintic is going to have 4x to the fifth power. Again, these are just examples, but when the degree is 1, it's linear, 2 quadratic, 3 cubic, 4 quartic, and 5 quintic. We also use the number of terms to classify polynomials. So if I have just one term, I have a monomial. If I have 2 terms, I have a binomial. Think about like a bicycle has 2 wheels. If I have 3 terms, I have a trinomial. Again, think of a tricycle has 3 wheels. And if I have 4 or more terms, I have a polynomial. And just to remember, terms are the things that are separated by either an addition sign or a subtraction sign. So like 4x plus 10, this is 2 terms. They are separated by an addition sign. All right, so now let's look at number 12, which is we want to write the polynomial in the standard form, and then we want to give the degree. So we have 3x squared minus 5x squared y squared plus 3x plus 8. When you are writing in standard form, you're going to go from the highest degree to the lowest. So we have to identify the degree of each term. The degree of our first term, it has x to the second power, so it's 2. The degree of our second term, it has x to the second and it has y to the second, so we add those degrees and we get that our degree is 4. The degree of our third term, this is linear, it's like x to the first, so it's 1. And then we have a constant out here that doesn't have a variable, so the degree is 0. So we go from the highest degree to the lowest. So the first one is going to be negative 5x squared y squared. So we're done with this one. Then we have the one with the degree of 2, which is a positive 3x squared. Then we have the term with 1 degree, which is positive 3x. And then we have a positive 8 on the end. So we needed to classify this degree this polynomial based on the degree. Our first term has a degree of 4. So you wanted to write that the degree was 4. Now let's take a look at number 13. Number 13, we wanted to write the polynomial in standard form, which again is going to go highest degree to lowest degree. So I'm going to go through and identify the degree of each term. The degree of my first term, this is 1 and this is 1, so total of my degree is 2. The degree of my second term is 3. The degree of my next term is also 2, and my last constant is 1. So the first one that I'm going to write is 2x to the third, because that one has the highest degree. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that's a negative. Negative 2x to the third. Then we have two terms that both have a degree of 2. To figure out which one goes first, typically we go in alphabetical order. So we go for the one that's going to have an x before we go for the one with just the y's. It won't mathematically make it wrong, and I didn't count you off on the test if you put the y squared first because they have the same degree, but we want to go in alphabetical order. So it's plus 6xy, and then I have plus 8y squared minus 3. On this one, I wanted you to give me the leading coefficient, and the leading coefficient is the number out in the front. So our leading coefficient is negative 2. So hopefully you guys understood number 12 and 13. Let's work on 14 and 15, classifying the polynomial. So if I have 6x cubed plus 9, how many terms do I have? I have 2 terms, so just like a bicycle with 2 wheels, we know we have a binomial. And then we have to classify it based on its degree. Well, the highest degree is 3. So we look back at our chart and we know that this is cubic. It is a cubic binomial. Number 15 was 5y squared plus 8y plus 3xy. So on this one, again, we are going to go to the leading, or the one that has the highest degree, which actually both of these have the highest degree, but both of their degree is 2, so we know it's quadratic. And it has 3 terms, so like 3 wheels on a bicycle is a tricycle, so it's a trinomial. So hopefully that helps you with classifying polynomials a little bit. So I didn't give you your keywords, but on number 12 and 13, your keywords are vanilla. And on number 14 and 15, it's sprinkles. Okay, let's talk about 16 and 17. You guys got so confused on these problems. These are just simplifying polynomials. So on number 16, I have 5x squared minus 2x plus 9 minus 2x squared minus 4. A lot of you guys wanted to FOIL here or use the distributive property. The distributive property would only work if I had 2 polynomials that were touching in the middle without an addition or subtraction sign. Because this problem has a subtraction sign in the middle, I am not supposed to be FOILing. I'm just going to be combining my like terms. Before I can combine my like terms, though, I need to do something with this negative sign out in the front. I'm subtracting the whole second polynomial from the first. And the way I do that is I distribute this negative sign. So I get negative 2x squared and then plus 4. You guys have seen this before. We have done this so many times. So now we have 5x squared minus 2x plus 9 minus 2x squared plus 4. Well, now we're just going to go through and combine the ones that are like terms. I've got 5x squared minus 2x squared. 5x squareds minus 2x squareds means I have 3 total x squareds. Now I have negative 2x, and I have no other x I can combine it with, so I'm just going to bring it straight down. And my last term is 9 plus 4, which is 13. This is my final answer. If I asked you to classify this, which I didn't, but if I did, I would say that it is a quadratic because the first term has a degree of 2, quadratic trinomial because it has 3 terms. All right, let's try number 17. 17 was even easier. So I have 10a squared minus 6a plus the quantity of 7a squared minus 8a. All I have in the middle here is a plus. I cannot FOIL because I'm not multiplying. So all I'm doing is adding the things that all have the same terms. So I've got 10a squared and 7a squared. Well, 10 plus 7 is 17. So I have 17a squared. Then I have negative 6a and negative 8a, which when I combine those, I get negative 14a. This is my final answer. Literally, guys, it was just adding and subtracting. So if I wanted to classify this one, again, it's to the second power, so it's a quadratic. Ooh. And it's got 2 terms. So think about 2 wheels on a bicycle is a binomial. All right, I'm going to give you some sample problems. These last 2 problems, your keyword is Christmas. Okay, we've got some sample problems I want to work out. The first one is I want you to write in standard form 16 minus 4x squared plus x to the 5th plus, let's see if I can fit it, 9x. So rewrite that one in standard form for me. Pause it if you need to. All right, so hopefully you have rewritten this. And I go from highest degree to lowest degree. So the highest degree is this x to the 5th. And then I have negative 4x to the 2nd. Then I have plus 9x. And then my constant at the end, positive 16. Can you identify for me, 1, the degree of this polynomial, and 2, the leading coefficient? So what is the degree and what is the leading coefficient? The degree is 5 because that's the term that has the highest degree. And the leading coefficient is 1 because there's a positive 1 hidden out in front. So if I wanted you to classify this polynomial, you would say, since the degree is 5, you would say it is a quintic polynomial because it has 4 terms. All right, I'm going to give you an adding or combining like terms problem. So if I've got 2x squared minus x, and I want you to add the polynomial x squared plus 3x minus 1, can you get for me my simplified polynomial? So you should have paused it and worked that out. You notice that there's a plus sign in the middle here, which means I'm just adding everything, so I can go through and start combining my like terms. So I've got 2x squared plus x squared means I have 3 total x squareds. Then I have negative x and positive 3x, which means I have a total of positive 2x's. And then I have a negative 1 on the end. If I wanted to classify this one, it would be a quadratic because it has an x squared and it's 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. Okay, and the last sample problem I want you to do before we're done is simplify a to the 4th minus 2a minus the quantity of 3a to the 4th minus 3a plus 1. So pause the video right now and try to simplify this. Okay, so hopefully you have paused and come back, and now you're ready to show me what you got. So we notice that we are subtracting this whole second trinomial, which is the same thing as distributing a negative 1. So I should have negative 3a to the 4th, and then positive 3a, and then negative 1. Bring down the first binomial. And now I can combine my like terms. So I have a to the 4th minus 3a to the 4th, which is negative 2a to the 4th. Then I have negative 2a and positive 3a, which is going to be positive 1a. And then I have this minus 1 at the end. So if I wanted to classify this, what is my leading coefficient? It's 2. My degree is 4. Oh, sorry, it's not 2. It's negative 2. My degree is 4, which means that this is a quartic. 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. All right, guys, hopefully you understand a little bit more about adding and subtracting polynomials, classifying polynomials, and simplifying polynomials. Thanks so much.